Okay, I try not to talk a lot about this, but since there's news updates on both sides of the fence on this one, I figured to throw something out there. Yesterday, Brendan Shanahan came out and talked about the Willie Nylander situation, and he mentioned John Tavares, and he said John Tavares signing for $11 million left money on the table to go to Toronto, and he did that because he's a hockey player, and talked a lot about how it's not all about market value, and it's about committing to the team. It's all about the team. Commit to the team. So it is a comment towards Nylander. Nylander today has come out and said that he didn't stay up to watch the game last night. He's still in Europe, so he wasn't staying up till the wee hours of the morning or getting up really early in the morning, depending on how you see that, to watch the Leafs Montreal game. But he said he watched the highlights and they looked pretty good, and he thought that was fun. But Nylander's losing money every day he doesn't play, but it sounds like he's dug himself in. He's saying it's okay, it's for the greater good. My agent and I've talked it over, and we've agreed it's for the greater good that for later on I sit out now. They mentioned in the article I'm reading here on Sportsnet, they mentioned the Nick Ehlers contract at $6 million and Pasternak's at over $6 million, and say that's right in about the range where Nylander should be. Pasternak left money on the table, and Bruins fans bring that up. Like, you can't bring up Pasternak, he left money on the table. That's what they're telling Nylander to do as well. They're saying, hey, look, these young guys left money on the table. Here's the funny thing, and I get it. We're talking about $6.5 million. That's a lot of money compared to $8. But again, it's weird how when you have a team being put together and you have a GM going, well, you guys are all going to have to take less money than what you're worth. We agree with the general manager. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys should take less money than what you're worth. This is the only chance that players get, really. They get this 6 or 8 year deal, and who knows where they are at the end of that. Maybe they're out of the league. Maybe they're on the downswing, and maybe their next contract isn't that much. This could be money that they have for the rest of their life. So I can understand wanting to make sure you get your maximum amount. And where the Nylander camp is, and I can kind of understand, is they may be looking at his line mates this year and saying, geez, if he's playing with Tavares and Marleau, he's going to score a truckload of points. He's going to be worth a lot more than $6 million at the end of just this season. So this is where it gets weird. Like, if you talk to a Buffalo fan about Eichel making $10 million, they'll tell you, well, yeah, but he has the potential to be all of these things, so it's worth the $10 million risk. And then you talk to a Leaf fan about Nylander, and it'll be, well, he should take $6 million and take one for the team. So it's if you're Nylander, you're looking around the league, you're looking at comparables. And it's normal for players to do that. But when you've got everybody saying, well, you should leave money on the table, well, why? It's such a strange thing that we say, yep, there should be a marketplace, there should be a salary cap, these things should exist. But when a player says, well, the market says I'm worth X dollars, and it's tough with restricted free agents because you can't bid on them. So that's where Nylander's kind of up against, in between a rock and a hard place, because he can't negotiate with anyone else. He's not in that position right now. And you look at Matthews and Marner, and you ask yourself, like, is this going to have an effect on how they approach negotiations with the Leafs? Marner's agent has said they will not negotiate during the season. Matthews, apparently there's negotiations going on. Matthews likely makes $12 million next year. Well, is he going to end up being worth 12 if he's 12, and if Tavares is 11, that's $23 million. It's a lot of money for two players. And then you've got Marner and you've got all these other guys who have to get signed and you have to stay under the cap. This is why Brendan Shanahan's coming out and saying we need these guys to play ball with us. We need these guys to take probably below market value to stay here so we can keep this together and this team can be better going forward. And apparently they've sent that same message to Jake Gardiner, who's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here, because it seems like the Leafs are entrenched in their position and Nylander and his agent are entrenched as well, even though the season has started. And they've asked Nylander about how much money he's losing and how he feels about that, and his answer is, I feel okay. So it's just in the beginning. Everybody's still playing nice, but usually the contentious contract negotiations show up later. And, a month or two into the season, one party says something and lets something slip, and then it turns into this big public brouhaha. It'll be interesting to see what Nylander gets. Because what Nylander gets will reflect directly on what Marner and Matthews end up getting. Marner looked fantastic last night. I really think the Leafs are going to end up paying through the nose if they have to pay Marner at the end of this year rather than negotiate a deal with them this past summer. And for Matthews, it has to be 12.5 million. Just based on that potential, based on his youth, and based on wanting to buy up years of unrestricted free agency. Players get paid for that, and that's something Nylander's looking at too, is if I'm going to give up unrestricted free agency when I could access it to stay here, I should get paid for that. And that's not an unusual or unreasonable request. But it's a strange situation Toronto finds themselves in. Because of the Tavares 11 million coming in, this becomes more acute than it would have been. They could have absolutely had no problem keeping everybody at market value, but that 11 million means that now everybody's got to take below market. And some guys will agree to it, some guys won't. So, by all means, let me know where you guys think this is headed and how long until he gets signed, because if it's after December 1st, he can't play this year. So the clock is ticking. We're about 8 weeks out from Nylander's potentially not playing at all. And we're one phone call away from him playing tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.